Let's go.
Two PTs, one podcast, episode 32, ladies and gents. We are discussing gym environment and the people you will find in the gym and how that could be a potential culture and like a little community. So I think that's the biggest thing within fitness for actual people to get to where they want to be, is actually being around like-minded people. But then also, is the facility going to be a big dictator? And not in terms of like, oh, it's got this equipment, like, how's the environment? Is it welcoming? Is it comforting? Because I know me and Myles both trained at different gyms.
Thank fuck.
I used to train at his gym, so I know his gym. And obviously, me and Myles have got different goals, although a lot of them I feel like are going to be similar down the line, or have been similar in the past.
I think we've got similar values.
Yes.
But the application of how we apply it is different. Like, you like to go more down that bodybuilding type of route, but I've kind of changed from that to more sport performance. That's what I'm doing with strength and conditioning.
I'd like to see, I'm strength tweaks a bit then, but I think I've still got like the goal of strength. Like, there's just something about being strong as hell, moving well, and looking mean. And that's like, fun enough with me doing this cut at the minute. It's not really a cut yet. I'm just doing my final couple of weeks of prepping for the prep and making sure that everything's right to go, because that'll be another episode on discussing preparing to get in shape. But I feel like me and what I want to achieve and how I've got to where I am now is a big dictator on where I train, who I surround myself with in terms of like my education. So like my education online is a completely different aspect to the people that I actually physically learn from in person. And those people know who they are. I mean, one of them is also Myles. But it's going to be the application of how is that going to be relevant to me, and how is that going to be relevant for me in my career, my training, and everything else. So it's a massive dictator to success with training, I think, and understanding where you want to be.
I think this is the reason why a lot of like things like even CrossFit is so like massive at the moment, because it's a massive community. People are joining together to do wacky and fun things together. So that's why classes and gyms are so popular, because you go in there as an individual and you come out with a big group, because you all share a common like thing. You share this whole love for fitness, or somewhat love of fitness. But yeah, I've in the last few weeks now, I've gone to quite a few different gyms. I've obviously gone to your gym in Stoke. I've gone to a gym in Sheffield, and obviously I've gone to a gym in Hamforth. And obviously the gym I work is in Congleton. And every gym has something different in the air. There's something you can't just put your finger on when you go in there. You can either you kind of get a feeling of whether this is a good gym for you or not. And that is based on, like, let's even say the first thing you generally see, like, the members of the gym, the equipment that is in there and used, the space, the layout of it and stuff like that. So if someone who's like a brand new member, or someone who's completely brand new to fitness might go into a gym that's a proper, like, maybe filled up with members of gyms who are like proper big muscle bodybuilders and stuff like that, it can be somewhat irritating, intimidating. Where if you go to, let's say, a leisure centre and you're going there because your friend Branda is there as well, like, you've already got that one step in the door, you've already got that kind of security there and stuff like that. But I think you were saying before about the people that you spend your around with is very important. That's a very different topic all around it together and stuff like that. But I feel like exactly for the gym that I'm working in at the moment, there's been a culture switch in somewhat in the last 2 or 3 years that I've been there, where very much like it's very mixture between a proper gym, don't get me wrong, but it has that element of a leisure centre, because there's quite a lot of fitness machines and cardio machines.
Commercialised, to an extent.
And I think the personal trainers that we all have now, including myself, obviously all being interested in strongman, strength and conditioning, Olympic lifting, sports, it's starting to have an effect on the members. Because a lot of the members now are coming in to live big because our clients are starting to try to live big. And it's nice to see, like, you'll go in and you'll see a lot of people trying a lot of new stuff. Like, when I was first there, when he had one squat rack, it was very much generic. You didn't really see people trying to put on loads of weight and try to lift that for only a couple of repetitions. But now that's coming a quite common thing now. While that's a great thing from my perspective and stuff like that, I can imagine for someone who's brand new to lifting, which I have because a few new clients that I picked up and all are quite new lifters. Like, that's a very daunting thing for people and stuff like that. How rude! How bloody rude! I'd like apologise for.
But yeah, I think businesses need to make money and etc. But I feel in the fact that the more commercialised a gym and the more you find the same gyms, like obviously some are better than others, but like your pure gyms, which are like a warehouse size and they've got about 10 meters per machine, it reduces the personality and the personalisation. And I think that sort of draws out the community and the fact that I can literally go into the gym now, it'd probably be dead, but I could still probably find someone to say hello or talk to, or even if it's just a staff, like we introduce ourselves, and because we're a relatively small team, be like, there's one of 6 people, and we'll pretty much know what we're talking about. And if you go to some gyms, this is going to be potentially drifting into controversial stuff.
I'm saying out this one.
But like, I finished my qualification, and my qualification came with the thing of you've got a guaranteed job interview at a pure gym, and I was not interested whatsoever. Like, this could drip back into the classes podcast we did a couple of weeks ago, but the personality and the presence that I want within a gym is a lot different as of an expectation to what it would be to a pure gym. And a lot of the pure gym staff are going in, they've just finished the level 3, and I feel like that's just a standard because that's a standard that the people that train at a pure gym are kind of used to. Whereas you come into the education of sort of, I'd say gym etc. isn't as much of a commercial because obviously it hasn't got that many branches. It's still in that tier for me, but not
a little bit, of course. But
it gets more specialised in the fact of, like, you've got Scott who's a strongman, and you've got you and your S&C. There's actual, not just bums and tums classes going on, but then it's actual the application of you can get really good at certain aspects and not just get in shape, which I think is a massive thing.
Yeah, it's exactly, and it does come down to the people who are in it, like, and it's not been something that's changed overnight. It's taken, it's still not 100% there. Like, there's still people that go in there because they like to be on like the steppers and the other machines that do cardio. Like, I'm not that frustrated with those, and across those.
And also, you don't control the music.
Oh man, there's so right. So in Gym Essential there's a jukebox. And,
it's the worst.
It's good because I get to put my bangers on. Like,
it's the worst shit.
But you'll get some interesting music. I'll save off for sure. Like 1 minute, like Linkin Park will be on, and then Whitney Houston will come on also, and then there's like a Celine Dion hour. So you get some very interesting moments. It's one of them. It's one of them gyms where if you don't have your headphones in, you're gonna go through a wave of emotions.
Fuck.
Yeah, exactly. I've had Christmas songs come on in March, and it's just.
But even that's a big implication of the environment and how I'm going to train.
Yeah.
Even if I've got headphones on, if I wear like.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I'm not going to say like heavy rock or anything like that, but actually like stuff that people will listen to, and it actually works to the audience and the clients that are in there at the time. So we'll change as per like if it's an older.
But that's like that fits the draw for Gym Central. It's a very mixed. It's a mixed. I wouldn't say it's an issue because the members are in there for the sake of going in there, and it's a very mixed thing, and that's what Gym Central is. It's not just one thing at the moment. It's quite a combination. But even still, like even my gym, everyone knows each other. Everyone's dead friendly. Like it's such a nice environment to go and work in because you come out of the gym, you might see someone in the shop and stuff, and you have a conversation with them and stuff like that. It's nice in that regard from a coaching aspect.
Because it's sort of the community of just the size of the town. But like, I think for a lot of where I'm from and where the gym is slightly different. Because obviously, for where we are now, gym etc. is not actually that far. But for me, we actually bring a lot of people in from different regions because that's how he's built the community. But that's also how he's brought it in for the atmosphere, the equipment, and he's bringing in everyone into the community and not just being like, here's a gym, this is what you go and do to train, like you do. But people actually want it. You want people to be inclined to come to the gym because of how the gym is and how it makes you feel, not just being like, I need to tick this box because my doctor said so.
Yeah, but we're all social creatures. We all like to socialise and stuff like that, so it makes sense to make a gym more sociably accepted. But saying that now, like, I mean, a lot of new gyms that get built and stuff are like you were saying before, that a big warehouse space, and they're getting equipment put in. I mean, one of the gyms that I went to in Sheffield and stuff like that was just a big open space. And I loved it. Like, that's how it used to be. And even like going back, I'm talking time ago now, stuff like when I first started weightlifting. I never went to a commercial gym. Like, I was just in like a spare room that my granddad turned into a gym. Because he used to love his bodybuilding and stuff like that. And like, I loved it in there because it was my space. And then when I went to a commercial gym in Manchester, like it was daunting for someone who's already been training for a few years and then went to a first commercial gym. Like, yeah, it was daunting because there was a new space, new area. Like, some gyms have different machines that work on similar things, and they all have different applications to it.
But it's going to draw into what, like, you're going to train to what the gym can provide. So in the same respect of you saying earlier about it having a squat rack and people being like, oh, I'm going to explore this. Like, if people know equipment and hack squats, they know that a Cybex hack is the worst thing in the world, but it's the biggest thing that will drive me to Apex. Well, apart from everything else, because I absolutely love everything about it in there. But that is something that people will draw into and just be like, right, I can go into more of this kind of realm of training because of the people that are there, but because I have the accessibility to do so. And it's going to breed, it sounds cheesy to say it's going to breed success, but it's going to breed into people that actually know what they want to do, and it gives them a bit more focus rather than just being like, there's a lat pull down, there's a bench press, there's some dumbbells, you can do whatever you want with them dumbbells. Whereas if there's not people in there that help you understand how to work it, or like you doing all your like clean and jerk kind of stuff, like if there's not people in there to show you how it's done or how to do it,
yeah, exactly, that's what I mean. But I'm hoping that in 3 or 4 or 5 years, like if I stay at gym etc., like that'll become a more, it's not essential, but it'll become more of seek to what's happening and stuff like that. Because at the moment, like, there'd be like someone like me and Landon, or even like Scott, for example, who will do it, and we'll drop the weight from up here down there because we can't control it. It's quite a big weight. I say big weight, but it's not big weight probably to much people on view. But
it's relative to the
audience.
audience.
When you can drop it, like, and you'll see it. Some people just look at us like, what the fuck are they doing dropping a weight like that from height?
And it's like Planet Fitness.
But yeah, but if you go to like an Olympic lifting based gym, that's a norm. So it's slowly changing. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do some Olympic other stuff, but not Olympic based. I'll do something like a death drop or something like that, where I'm just literally like landing from a height. And I use the benches there because it's a nice little height to land from and stuff like that. But then the person right next to me is doing a flat bench dumbbell bench press, and they'll look at me and they'll go, like, "What are you doing? You just look like you're just jumping off a bench."
Are they still fixed to the floor?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember my first ever day doing it, and I didn't get told that we locked the door, so I was like trying to pick it up, thinking, "I'm not worthy. Why won't you lift?" And then that's when someone told me they were locked down. I was like, "Makes sense."
But then, in the same respect of like, the atmosphere at Apex is going to be slightly different, and it's going to allow certain people to breed that sort of stuff. But it's the big statement of people are afraid and scared of what they don't understand. And if they don't understand it, they're like, ooh, like what's that? Like me putting a foam block in front of someone or myself to do a row because that's how the machine is going to be better orientated. But because someone's like, I don't get how that works, and I'm just going to give them evil looks until I try and figure it out, and then I hope they tell me.
Yeah.
But then it gets into the environment factor of being like, hi, could I just ask like what you're doing? But then in the same perspective, someone you literally just saying to you, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just doing this. Oh, how would that apply?
Yeah, it makes conversation, doesn't it?
Yeah, but then that's an environment.
Yeah,
like, everyone's stayed closed off. I feel once you've got headphones on in your gym.
Yeah, but even still, like even go beyond the gym and stuff like that. It's the town environment that makes the environment for the gym. Like go back to I'm going back to my gym for example. Like Congress is growing. Like there's houses being new built and stuff like that. Where you bring in different type of people. Mm-hmm. So that's gonna if they join our gym. They have my different personas, they might have different personality traits and stuff like that may or may not match the gym's environment. So there's that adaptability as well. And then the gym's got to, again, because obviously finances and obviously because it's a business, has got to adapt to the environment around it. Because if it doesn't adapt, then it'll fall by the wayside and stuff like that.
So and I think that's why the difference is, like, you're drawing them from what's here.
Well, it bounces back and forward, like... Yeah. That will have an effect on that, and that will have an effect on that. Like, there's no start or end point. They rebound off each other, or should I say, the opposite reacts. It's like Newton's law. There's always an opposite reaction, but it just might not be instant. It might take over years and decades to change and stuff like that.
It's quite funny in the fact of I think your first gym will always be the dictator of what you want to do in the future, of what you find. Because like could you imagine if you started somewhere as a proper S&C gym, bar like your granddad's?
Yeah, but I'd say like...
Yeah. But that was a big dictator. Like, you know that yourself on how you wanted to train. But imagine you went to somewhere like proper deadlift, like S&C.
But that's the thing, it's like, that's now, we're going now even further away from the environment of the gym, and then we're going into the fitness environment. Like, 30 plus years ago, like Olympic lifting was the norm. People were learning how to do Olympic first before they learned how to do anything else. Then the environment changed to get more people involved, and that started adapting things as well. So I think the environment of fitness itself has massive implications of what's going on within a gym. And what the research and dictates and stuff like that.
Because like Apex is... I think there's 4 or 5 gyms within the space of a square mile of the gym, but then it's obviously what the gym offers and what the gym can provide to the people that are there. And obviously there's going to be trainers at each of them that are going to bring their own things. It's dead weird.
I mean, there's good and bads to it all. I mean, like, the good thing is like there's more places now for people to train to go and change their life really, to get themselves fitter and stuff like that. Like,
it's never been easier.
It never has been easy. And we were talking about this just earlier on before and stuff like that. Even the approach to fitness has changed. So people are now training from home. So the environment is changing in that aspect. So the home environment is now being intercepted because people are now feeling comfortable to go in a living room and start doing burpees or do some other training and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's not fun, but there's that aspects of training as well and stuff like that. Like, it aspects on our way of programming or how we approach it from a coaching environment. So there's always, it's always going to be changing. It's never going to be set in stone. Like, we'll have this conversation a year ago and we'll be like, we might look at it and go, nah, we were completely wrong, or yeah, some things were right, but now it's completely different in the way that we're trying to teach things.
It's the adaptability of saying, if you want to do this, you might not even be at the right facility.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, every facility you could do something to a certain degree, but if you want to truly feel comfortable, because you're not going to get to the level you realistically want to be at until you're at a comfortable position. Like,
I disagree with that. Because I think once you get that comfortability, you're not growing. I think you need that constant, it's weird. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like, I think if you stay comfortable for too long, you're not growing enough. Like, I want to be that type of person where I'll look back at the content that I'm making now, or the lifts that I'm making now, or the exercise I'm making now, and look, like that's cringy. That's not me. I'm glad I've grown from that, or I've moved away from that type of Myles.
Yeah.
Because I'm hoping that every single year I'm making progress as I go along and stuff like that. Like, stay awake, my friend. Even the laptop's falling asleep on like a chatter so much.
Because it's a hard thing between saying that, because it's then dependent on your circle. Because if you've got a circle or an environment that doesn't dictate or support your way of training, like doing overhead press, doing Olympic lifting and dropping the bar, is it really the environment that's going to help you grow? But then it's like getting into your discussion there, being like uncomfortable, and it's.
But that's again even if we're taking away from the environment of the gym, your environment dictates by the 5 people you spend your most time with. I think that's Dale Carnegie who said that. You are the sum total of the 5 people you spend your most time with. So we're going into even like how the way that you look at things change, and then obviously that I know this is going way deeper than it needs to go and stuff like that, but it does literally break down to like the world's smallest things, and how something that you might do today might have a number of effects, or the butterfly effect, or whatever we want to have effects on it. But I really think that gyms going forward are slowly but surely going into more of a not a commercial type of way, where I think more people are, because they're understanding the benefits of weight training. I think gyms are starting to go more where they're all weight training focused. I think they're moving away from the cardio type of side. So I think you are seeing more like warehouse type of gyms. And I think that also has an effect on us as coaching, because there's so many personal trainers now. The level of requirement to be a personal trainer isn't enough now. That's why they're starting to be like level 4 strength and conditioning coaches.
Say it louder for those at the back.
I know, exactly. It's like, can you hear me? And people are going to have to do more. But that's good, because it means as coaches then, we've got a level of requirement that benefits more people, because we've applied more. Like, I wouldn't be surprised in 3 or 4 years or even more, personal training becomes a whole degree. It should be a degree, because we're having a massive indication on people's lives, not just fitness, like how they eat, how they think, how they train, all that type of stuff. And then that client, anytime that client goes into a gym and trains, on a somewhat level, even how small they know that they're affecting the environment around them. Because someone might look at them and go, I wonder what they're doing, and then research that, or something like that. And that's what I mean. Fitness in itself is a fantastic thing, because it's well, like anything in life, it evolves, it adapts. But I think it really is benefiting in this kind of way now. We're really starting to see a lot of people really focusing on deadlifts, squats. I mean, look at even from a sex type of point, like 5 years ago now.
What kind of view?
A sex type of view.
Oh,
I don't mean a thing you want to. I don't know. I'm talking about like
gender.
Sexes. Like gender. Yeah. Like, that would have been a bit more sensible to say probably.
Deadlifts and sex.
What a combination. But yeah, look at the gender view. Like 5 years ago, women weren't that interested in training, and sometimes now, like I see more women in a weightlifting room.
This is the biggest thing for me, I think, as a client standpoint, is because if you're paying so much for a PT per hour and they're doing the cardio with you, unless it's like something like really specific, like interval training or anything like that, if you're spending part of your hour pissing around doing cardio,
this is why this is so different. Like, there's cardio. Like, for example, if you're a running coach, then that's cardio, and you're paying for that running coach. If it's conditioning, then you're paying for that conditioning. If it's speed work, I know there is
walking on a treadmill.
Okay, yeah, but that's walking on a treadmill.
But like you'll see that a lot, especially I think commercial gyms, not like your kind of gym, but like the pure and that kind of stuff.
That gets into the conversation of why have you employed a personal trainer? Is it you've employed a personal trainer to get you to have an excuse? Not an excuse, like to escape from your everyday lives. Like, and that goes into way debate, and we'll be here all day and stuff like that if we want to go into a debate like that. But I think the environment that if you ultimately want to make the results that you want to make and stuff like that, then you definitely need to consider the environment that you're in. And that's not just the gym environment, but that's your home environment, that's your friend's environment, that's
the best coaches, apart from like gym, etc. Because you have your specific specialities and your specificness are going to be found in the independent gyms.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think a lot more coaches are doing it now.
Yeah,
a lot more clients are going private, and I mean, like obviously now, like we're starting to get even like online coaches. It's starting to become a norm and stuff like that. Like
that's too much of a norm though for me. Like there is literally nothing stopping my neighbour who works in finance.
Yeah, but there's no one stopping anyone from doing anything.
Well, no, but like there's. Because even in the same respect of like a personal training qualification, like I had to go through exams and pass the exams to get my qualification. Like I had to do my recording review, and that had to be approved. Where I think a lot of them now literally turn up, you learn this, you learn that, you don't have any assessments, and you just get.
But that's the thing, isn't it? I think that's why there's now starting to be a call of people starting to get higher of a qualification, because it's the base level is starting to drop. But because there's more people who are coming into that base level now, to stand out, you have to do more.
I think the standards just so much higher.
It's higher, but it's widened. You'll get people really on that really base level, and you'll get some people getting on a really high base level. But sooner or later, there'll be a knock-on effect. It's because it's very much a hype, isn't it? Like not even just saying the online coaching thing and stuff like that, but it's a hype to be online doing the business because COVID's just happened. Like, even myself, I wasn't that interested in online coaching until kind of COVID happened, and I had to be forced into that environment. So I had to adapt my services to accommodate for people who might not be going to my gym, that live in Winslow or live somewhere down London, something like that.
But then, to the certain extent of what we just said in terms of you bringing your specialities to the table, that allows people to be having access to the speciality of what they might not be able to find in their local area. Like if you only live near a pure gym, and like
you really don't like pure gym, do you? Like, I think we've gathered that.
Yeah. Well, if you go to a pure gym and someone doesn't understand what S&C is and they think it means socks and Crocs, then
socks and Crocs.
Like they're going to be like, oh, this isn't the location, or it might be the location, but I actually need someone with the expertise and the understanding, which is where the online, but the regulated online, where
but that's the thing. It's like now, like socks it's a beauty. You gotta have that thing on mind. Like there's a beauty in that as well. That people now from different towns, if they couldn't find it in their local area, can go literally on Google search and study someone for a while and go, I like this person, I want to go and train with them. And bring that to their own gym, which then affects that environment. So, it just like everything really, it's always constantly growing and adapting to everything really. And I think it depends on what you look at it. I think if you want to look at it as the beauty of things, or right, this is how personal training dies and stuff like that, then I think whatever you focus on expands.
It's the saying, isn't it? Personal training is dead. Long live personal training.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like there'll always be a need for personal training, like because there's so much importance to seeing a person face to face and seeing someone move and the practicality of it. I highly doubt it, whether for the near future or for a long period of time. I don't think in person, face to face, personal trainers will go anytime soon.
But it's even like we said earlier. It's like the sheer concept of trying to get in shape is actually not that hard. But what you're actually doing is you're paying for experience, you're paying for education, you're paying for accountability and so on that's there to actually make sure that you are doing the right stuff. But a lot of people don't see the value in that until they're 10, 12 weeks down the line.
I think people don't see the value in investing themselves. That's the most bigger thing.
And if they can't visually see it, or something like, because I think we spoke a couple of weeks ago in terms of saying like you might have a client that's with you for like 2 years, they've not actually made that much progression physically, but the
mentally,
actual
like,
everything else is
everything around him is like changed, and yeah, exactly. It's just it's not people pleasing, but it's making people more than what they are at the moment. But yeah,
but it's awareness of environment, the standard, like what we've already said, and I think until that's brought as a main source, and it's not just like this person has an Instagram, so they must know, or this is a gym, this must be great.
Well, let's look at it from a gym aspect, like Instagram, for example, like James Smith, like even the environment of how coaching is coached, like James Smith came into this scenery with this attitude of I don't give a crap what I think or what other people think. I'm going to say it the way it is and call people out. It wasn't known for people to do that. And then everyone started doing it. Everyone tried to be like a James Smith and started slagging people off. And there'll be a rebalance of that. And he does it in a way that works. But I'm not that type of coach. If I start slagging people off, I don't feel like myself. But it all comes down to your morals and your values and stuff like that, and whether you want to dip in toes in different environments and try changing it that kind of way.
I think it's identification of what the actual proper standard should be.
Yeah,
and not just
that standard.
Seeing your first coach and just being like, oh well, yeah, they squat, so that must be good. Whereas if you have someone that understands the ins and outs and like understands a backbone and has like an actual system in place to help people, and not just been like, here's a text every Friday of a workout on what to do. That is not a coach. Not anymore anyway, because the standard has increased so much.
The standard's massive.
If you said it 10 years ago and be like, right, you're going to get a Microsoft Word document and that'll be it for your week.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, look at the last year and how many like online softwares there are. So
yeah,
the environment it's a massive change. Where I love my spreadsheets.
Yeah, same.
I'm a big spreadsheet man. Like I'll spend hours creating the perfect spreadsheet, and then the next day I'll find something that will be more appropriate to then change that spreadsheet.
Guilty. I make a walkthrough video of how to use the sheets, and then as soon as I finish the walkthrough,
and then I finish the change the sheets, and then I have to make it a walkthrough. That's
yes. Because I'm like, I've just done all this work, and now I have to redo it because even like the colours changed and everything, and even like how the system works. And sometimes I even get perplexed by how it works. But then I'm like, I know that if I went online to get all the information that I wanted from a client, I might not necessarily be able to get it as easy and portray the information as well as something as basic as a Google sheet.
Yeah, I do like the Google sheet.
I freaking love a spreadsheet. Yeah. I'm like, hey, do you want to look at my spreadsheet?
No, this is how you work it. If you mess it up, you're dead. Yeah. But right, ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much everything about this episode about environments, cultures,
coaches,
and development of. I wouldn't say coaches, just say development with fitness in general.
The industry.
Yeah. In industry. You can see we've not came up with the name of the podcast yet. So if it's completely different from what we've just said today, we've had probably a little bit more thought into it. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. We've kind of delved into a lot of things that are quite related and not so related at the same time. But if you are ranted as always. But if you guys have, listened to this through Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you give us a 5-star and a review, a positive one, or negative, whatever you feel like it. And if you guys are listening to, if you're watching this through YouTube and want to give it a like and a share, be my guest. That'd be nice. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the episode. I'll stop rambling on now, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.